This is a quick Grim Dawn Infinity showcase on the best skill in the game. You might be wondering, what is the best skill in the game? Is it the most powerful? Is it the highest damage? What does it do? Let's find out. So this is a highly modified mod, which is essentially an entire new game world, and everything has been altered, including the fact that pretty much all the classes are being moved into these two. And the last one that I've moved is Blade Trap. And the reason why it's so powerful is not because you see 999s all over the place. It's the way that this skill works. So this is a throwback to ones like EverQuest, where it's actually a true CC. So I'm going to just show off a couple of the different things here. We're going to buff up a little bit here, and we're going to use some of the basic skills. Now, some of this has been shown before in some of the other videos, but we're going to look at a little situation across the map over here a little bit. So most of the stuff over here is real easy, and we'll just kind of plow right through this stuff till we get just a little bit further. And then we're going to run into some stuff that's quite a bit stronger. So these are about mid-range. And then once we hit this bridge, this would be kind of a good example for it. So there's two ethereal zombies up here. So we're going to aggro both. And then I'm going to use the most powerful skill in the game so that we don't have to tank both of these at the same time. Now, you notice the damage from just one of those is high enough that that's almost enough to kill me. So using something like that works really well, and then I can debuff this and use it. Now, while that's on there, I can't do any damage on that. All these swings will miss. It can still attack me, and the other stuff essentially won't do anything. It's purely just a CC skill. As you level that up, it'll cost less mana, it'll last longer, and it'll have a little bit of extra benefit. But that is one of the things that's really nice about that. Now on here, these still need to be adjusted a bit. These priests will heal, so if you start attacking something like that, it does have the ability to heal, but it doesn't do it frequently enough, and it doesn't quite have the AI necessary yet to really make that more challenging. But what you'll notice is if you're going through some of this and you start piling up creatures like that, you're not really meant to take on so many things like that. So when all this stuff starts gathering together, it is really important to use stuff like that. I will add in some resistances, so you can't just do that freely whenever you want. But it is a really nice enhancement on there, especially if you're fighting in an area where it's really critical to keep the separation. Skills like that come in to be very handy. So on here, Grasping Vines was modified a little bit to where that actually slows the attack speed a little bit, and as you level it up more, it'll have much more effect. The Frailty or Curse on there lowers multiple stats on it. And then ones like, I think that is Force, it's this. Yes, Force Wave, that does a stun. And then there's another one on here to do, where is it? Blitz. Blitz does the knockdown on that. So in order for these to really be effective, you want to level them up. As you level them up, you'll have slight increases on the land rates along with damage and multiple other things, and mana efficiencies and things like that. And then added in a few modifications. So all the ones that you see that are much higher, like 200, 250, these are ones that are modified and ready to go. So they scale a little bit. So this one will apply a bleed effect, very similar to what it was originally on there, but it's been modified about how much damage it does. And the scaling on that has worked really well. I hope that they do this with all the other games out there. I know that actually Diablo 4 is trying to do this. One of the problems that Diablo has had in almost every other action RPG is that they use multipliers for everything. What happens is by the end, not only do you end up doing this massive, ridiculous damage that doesn't even feel like it means anything, you do 40 million damage, it's hard to even track or calculate. But in addition to that, the balance is thrown off. It just gets really crazy because you have one skill that's doing 85 times the damage of another because all these stacking multipliers. I've taken all those out. So as you progress in here, you go from hitting from 80 damage to 85 to 90 and stuff like that. They're very controlled. And if you switch between different skills, you won't have one skill that's doing 4 times what another skill is doing. And that is one of the things that Diablo 4 developers talked about and trying to prevent that, because there's scope creep and their updates and stuff just kept pushing those limits, and then they're just impossible to balance between classes and skills, and it really makes a mess. So really cleaning that stuff up and taking out all those multipliers. You may have one that, you know, a critical attack does a small scaling or percentage increase, but in general you really don't want that. You just get better numbers out of this, and if they're balanced properly to what the mob stats are, everything works. There's a lot of room in these trees, especially Arcanist here, to take out some of these skills and replace them. So you can still have, one of the big benefits of Grim Dawn was that you could choose so many different classes and varieties on here. You can still fit these into 2 skill trees and have everything that's really mandatory. A lot of these are passives that don't really do all that much, or issues like this where this replicating missile, probably take this out entirely. I'm not really that impressed with this skill, to be honest. And maybe replace this tree. You could technically put skills all across this, or make actually like 3 or 4 skills, and skills like this that have 3 different extra modifiers to it. A lot of times all that is really just bloated stats. So what you can really end up with is something like this, where I have almost the entire bar full of skills, and as I add more, you can still have 20, even 30 different real skills that are in here to choose from, and then choose your top 8 to go on your skill bar and rotate them out. So I think that this is really going to work out well that way, and you can kind of do a lot of things that you couldn't do in the original. Like on here, I might freeze a mob over here and then use Frailty on this and Grasping Vines and maybe another debuff, and I come in and do a charge attack into it and stuff like that, where I can get a nice rotation going. And also that the skills would be used in a specific order as well, so you can kind of have a little bit of a combo effect or meaning to it. So if you do Frailty first, and Frailty increases your chance to stun, then you follow up with a stun attack, then you have kind of a sequence that's more preferable. So that's just a little example of how it works, and I just wanted to kind of show off the new skill that was added here, Blade Trap, that actually came from another class, but I think that works really well with this gameplay, and I'm going to keep adding in more and keep going with this development. So thank you very much.